Um, and the interesting thing about how you implement AI is that you use all the old techniques that we've used for the last like all our careers, right? Like the change management is really important. Um, Working with other people is really important, right? Because you're changing the way they work. And all the things we've learned about how do you do agile, how do you work cross functionally, all these things come into play.
Right.
But those things we never got 100% right, and they're even more important now with AI. And I'll give you go ahead, Richard, and then I can give
Yeah,
you some
no, I
examples.
mean that's an interesting point, right? Because digital transformation has always been more about the process and the people, right? And
The hard
it's so
parts.
cliche to do process, people, technology, and I know people hate that because it's overdone, but it's overdone for a reason. And so I'm glad to hear you say that, because we talk about this all day long in terms of, yeah, it's kind of like in the olden days. You can implement any SaaS product. It's the differentiation is features and capabilities. But if you don't get it right, you don't get it right. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that's why internally, like within Salesforce, when we deploy Agentforce, our goal is that people love it, right? Like it shouldn't be like, okay, because you work for Salesforce, you got to use Agentforce. It's because the tool actually makes a difference for you.
Right.
And the fundamental reason, a way that we're getting there is what I refer to as new ways of working, new ways for us working. But if I describe it to you, you'll be like, oh yeah, like we've been doing this for a long time. And so one is, you sort of like create these cross-functional squads that are no more than maybe 10 people, that have the people that actually do the work. And this has to be a combination of business and IT. And when I say business, often in big companies, you have like these central operational teams. So those teams are still important, but you need to work directly with the end users. And and so you have the end users. In this case, like for me, it's sellers. You have the business ops teams. You have the IT team, all in this squad. And the reason why that's important in AI is because when you develop the prompts, you need domain knowledge. Like the prompts have to literally be written like, hey, if pretend you're an SMBAE, here are the things you do. Who knows that better than the actual
Right.
One
SMBAE?
who's sitting in the chair doing it every day. Right.
Exactly. And so that's what's leading us to success, is that we're designing this with the end users, and we don't stop until they say, this is good for me.
And how much of that is resulting in like process redesign in terms of, hey, we do this all the time, and they're like, I don't know why we do that.
Yeah. So interesting enough, it's almost like AI is your opportunity to do spring cleaning not only process, but also policy. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Like when we're looking into agentifying approvals, we found that there was one approval for $14,000 that requires like so much escalation that's not even worth the money, right? And by the way, 98% of the time it's approved. And so
So
so so
it's
like
necessary approval.
yeah. So the way we've actually set it up is, before we even get to the agentification, we have policy process simplification. So it goes there first, and we're like, should we even do it, or should we change it? And
Right.
then once we sort of get past that process, then we go to, okay, let's agentify it, because when we want to agentify, the worst thing you can do is agentify the existing process, the existing way of working, because the real magic and power in agents is that you can do new things.
Right.